This is tape 4 that I'm doing. I wanted to do some more taping because I also want to remember you, Sturart, what you're doing, living in Wyoming. I know of your interest in birds, and I think you caught that from me. And I've always enjoyed talking to you on the telephone about the birds that you've seen when you're out working, or also talking about sports, about football or about baseball or things like that. That's something that you and I share in common, and I hope you're having as good a time as I am, because I'm having a great time today. And Sherilyn, you and Bruce, I think a lot about the two of you and what you're doing together, developing your own relationship and moving into your new house, Bruce. And you're wonderful that I can talk to you about any dental problems, because I had a problem here on this trip to Texas when the bridge in my, covering one side of my mouth, my bridge for the teeth dropped out, and now I'm going to find a place where to get the bridge cemented back in again. So these are things that I remember. I want to just, I don't know why it came to my mind, but I wanted to share something with you that I remembered from many years ago. It was February 1943. I was living on Lake Massasauga in New Hampshire, and it was in that first week in February that the temperature in there dropped to 55 below zero. I have never experienced anything like that before. 10 o'clock in the morning, it was still 40 below zero. There was no school all that week before it finally got up to a more normal 10 or 20 below zero and things began to move again. But on the lake, right in front of the house where we lived, it was not too deep a lake, so it was so cold, maybe it was 6 or 10 feet deep. It was so cold that the ice froze right to the bottom of the lake. And of course, water expands when it turns to ice. And when that water and ice expanded, it broke the ice apart, and it sounded just like a clap of thunder. You'd hear it in the middle of the night or sometime during the day when it let go. So I remember that as well. And I remember also when I first met Grandma Harriet. She was working in Bridgeport, Connecticut for the Girl Scouts. She was a professional worker for them. And I met her through a friend in the June of 1946. And now I look back to those days. What a wonderful time we had our courtship together, because I was a student at Wesleyan University in Middletown, Connecticut. She would come up on weekends where we went to the football games and had parties at the fraternity house on campus. And then her father said, well, now that you two are getting serious, you can't marry my daughter until you're able to carve the Thanksgiving turkey and also to climb up Mount Katahdin. Mount Katahdin is the northern terminus of the Appalachian Trail, so we had a time to go up and climb Mount Katahdin. And of course, I was able to carve the turkey because I'd worked as in my teenage years in a meat market, and I was in good shape after coming out of the Army to climb Mount Katahdin. And after after Grandma and I were, Harriet and I were married in 1948, we were at that same area where Harriet was a assistant counselor to a camp, and I was their trip guide and took girls up and down Mount Katahdin and on canoe trips. Good to talk to you in this way. Thank you so much, Brian, for doing this.